Hello everyone, I am Anish Vora and I welcome you all in our next video lecture. In today's video lecture, we will study design of a wound rotor. So design of wound rotor. In previous video lectures, we have already studied design of stator, design of main dimension, then design of squirrel cage rotor, and at last will in today's video lecture will study design of wound rotor. So it is slip ring type of rotor. So let us take one simple numerical and we'll do the designing work step by step. So for example, suppose let us take as a given data, suppose we take a 90 kilowatt 500 volt 3 phase 50 hertz 8 pole star connected induction motor. Some more data is also given. Stator number of slots, (63) and number of conductor per slot is given, that is 6. Slip ring voltage, the voltage between two slip rings, that is a maximum voltage between slip rings should not be more than 400 volt. So maximum voltage between slip rings should be less than or equal to 400 volt. This is one of the constraint. So while designing, we have to take care that total voltage between the slip rings should not be increased beyond 400 volt. Some more data is given, that is the efficiency 90% and power factor 0.86. So this much of data is given. We need to find out, or we need to design a slip ring type of rotor. So we need to find number of rotor slots, number of conductor per slots, rotor current, coil span, rotor coil span, and cross sectional area of rotor winding, and number of rotor turns. So this much of data we have to find for a slip ring of a rotor based on the data which is given. So let us do one by one, step by step, and then we'll solve our numerical. So first of all, let us find Q, that is a KVA rating. So KVA rating kilowatt divided by efficiency multiplied by power factor. So this is our first step normally. So 90 kilowatt divided by efficiency, that is 0.9, and our power factor given, that is 0.86, and therefore Q. So kVA rating we have, so 90 divided by 0.9 divided by 0.86, so it comes to 116.28 kVA. So based on this kVA rating, we can easily able to calculate stator current. So this is Q. Now stator current. So in case of stator current, we have equation 3 multiplied by Vs Is multiplied by 10 raised to minus 3. So per phase voltage, now it is star connected. Here we have to take care because it is star connected, and therefore Vs, that is stator voltage, 500, that is line voltage, divided by √3. This is always we need to take care. So 500 divided by √3, and then it comes to 288 or 289 volt. So based on this stator voltage, now we have to find stator current. So Is, that is Q divided by 3 stator voltage multiplied by 10 raised to minus 3. So now Q, that is 116.28 divided by 3, 289 multiplied by 10 raised to minus 3. So stator current, so 116.28 multiplied by 1000 divided by 3 divided by 289, so it comes to 134. So 134 ampere. So based on this stator current, later on we'll find our rotor current. So two quantities we have defined. Now we'll try for total rotor turns. So first of all, we have to find, suppose now based on the constraint given, the voltage between slip rings, that is a maximum voltage, maximum slip ring voltage should be less than or equal to 400 volt. So this is constraint, we know. So this is our constraint. So let us take 400 volt rotor voltage between slip ring. Let us take slip ring voltage. For example, we are taking maximum voltage 400 volt, right? Then we'll come to actual voltage. This is, we have, for example, we have considered. Now suppose we consider rotor is also star connected, then we have phase voltage, rotor phase voltage. So rotor phase voltage ER, that comes to 400 and divided by √3. So it comes to 400 divided by √3, then it comes to 231 volt. So one more quantity we have identified, and that is our rotor voltage. Now our next step, that is to find total number of stator turns per phase. So total number of conductor, that is total number of stator slots multiplied by conductor per slot. So it comes to 63 multiplied by 6. 63 number of stator slots are given, and we have been given total 6 conductor per slot. So it comes to 378. So total number of stator conductor we have designed, or we have rather calculated, and therefore ZS, that is 6 times TS. This we know. In previous also we have considered this equation, and therefore stator turns per phase, that is total number of stator conductor divided by 6. So it is 378 divided by 6, and then it comes to 63. So stator number of turns we have calculated 63, and that is our TS, stator number of turns per phase. See, now to calculate our total number of rotor turns, we have one very simple equation, that rotor voltage to stator voltage ratio, that is equal to rotor winding factor and to stator winding factor, and multiplied by rotor turns and stator turns. For example, if we consider both the winding factor are equal, right? This we are considering both the winding factor are equal, then our equation becomes phase voltage rotor, phase voltage stator is equal to turns rotor and stator turns. Based on this equation we have, and therefore total number of rotor turns, that is equal to stator turns multiplied by rotor voltage, phase voltage, and stator voltage. So based on this equation, we can easily able to calculate our rotor turns. So rotor turns per phase, that is TR, that is TS multiplied by ER divided by ES. TS, that is 63, we have calculated. ER, that is 231. Stator voltage per phase, that is 289. So 231 and 289. Okay, correct. So therefore rotor turns, that is 231 multiplied by 63 divided by 289. So it comes to 50.35. So let us consider 50, right? So rotor turns we have approximated as a 50. So now rotor conductor per slot, but before we find total rotor conductor per slot, we have to calculate rotor slot. rotor slots. See, stator slots are given. Here we have to consider stator slots are given 63. Now in case of a slip ring type of a rotor, we normally take integral number of rotor slots per pole per phase. So suppose number of slots per pole per phase, if we consider either 2 or 3. So suppose we consider Q is equal to 2, then total number of slots, rotor slots, that is 2 multiplied by 3, that is number of phase, and we have number of slots, number of pole, so it comes to 48. So either we can take 48 rotor slots. We have to take integral number, right? So suppose we take Q is equal to 3, that is the rotor number of slots per pole per phase. In this condition, rotor slots, that is 3 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 8, so it comes to 72. See, any one of this number of rotor slots we can take in our example, right? There will not be much change in the ultimate results. So for example, we start with 48 number of slots. Let us take, as I said, we can take either 48 or 72. Any one of the rotor number of slots can be taken, right? There is no any constraint for taking either way. So let us consider rotor slots, that is 48, right? So 48 if we take, then based on this value we have to consider total conductor or conductor per slot. So rotor conductor per slot, so we have 48 number of rotor slots. Based on this value, we can take 6 times number of rotor turns, so that is 50, and divide by number of slots, right? So it is 6 multiplied by TR divided by number of slots of rotor. This equation we have used, right? So it comes to 6.25, but we have to consider integer value, and therefore we take a rotor conductor per slot equal to 6. So 6.25 we cannot take, so we have considered 6. Based on this value, now actual number of rotor turns, instead of 50 we had estimated. Now based on actual value of rotor conductor per slot, we have slightly changed actual rotor turns per phase. So now let us consider total rotor turns. So TR, now actual, that is based on the rotor conductor per slot. So that is a rotor number of slots multiplied by total rotor conductor per slots and divide by 6. So 48, that is total slots, multiplied by 6 and divide by 6. So ultimately it comes to 48. So rotor conductor slots are now 48. This is actual. So now based on this value, again actual voltage between slip rings will change. We had initially we had taken 400 volt and we started calculation, but now we have actually available rotor number of turns. So based on this value, again we use this equation: ratio of stator voltage per phase to rotor voltage to stator voltage per phase, and number of turns of rotor to stator, and therefore rotor voltage, that is stator voltage per phase multiplied by turns. So this voltage 289, actual now voltage, that is 48 turns, and 63, that is stator number of turns. So it comes to 220 volt. This is actual voltage, rotor voltage per phase. So across slip ring, this is phase voltage, and if we consider, if we have already considered is as a star connected, then voltage across slip ring, that is 220 multiplied by root 3. This voltage should not be go beyond 400 volt, that is the maximum voltage constraint. So 381, so 381 volt. So it is less than 400 volt, right? So it is within a limit. So it is within limit. So this calculation is valid. So now we have considered rotor number of turns, rotor number of slots, and actual voltage across the slip ring. Now the remaining portion, that is rotor coil span and rotor current, as well as rotor cross sectional area of the winding. So let us do further calculation. So now rotor coil span, rotor coil span. So we have total rotor slots divided by number of poles. So total slots, that is in case of rotor we have taken 48 and we have number of poles, that is 8. So coil span, that comes to 6. This is our coil span. If we had considered 72 number of rotor slots, then our coil span, considering full pitch coil, in this condition also we have taken full pitched coil, so 9 slots. If we had taken 72 rotor slots, then our coil span might be 9 slots, right? But we have, in this example, we have considered 48 rotor slots. So our coil span, full pitch coil span, is 6 slot, right? So now next step, that is our rotor current. Suppose in normal condition we take rotor mmf, that is 85% to stator mmf, right? This normally we consider. So IR and TR, that is rotor mmf, 85 times IS TS, and therefore rotor current, that is 0.85 IS TS, that is stator values, divided by rotor turns. We substitute all the values. 0.85 stator current we have calculated, that is 134 ampere. Stator turns, that is 63, and we have rotor turns, that is 48. So it comes to 0.85 multiplied by 134 multiplied by 63 divided by 48. So it comes to 149, or suppose we take 150 ampere. 150 ampere. So this is rotor current. Once a rotor current is available, we can easily able to calculate cross-sectional area of the rotor winding. Now let us take current density of rotor winding, suppose 5 ampere per millimeter square. 3 to 5 ampere per millimeter square we can take current density. It is not given, so appropriate value we can easily any value we can take. So based on this value, now cross-sectional area of the rotor winding. So rotor current divided by rotor density. So 150 ampere divided by 5, and therefore cross-sectional area of the rotor winding, that comes to 30 millimeter square. So 30 millimeter square. So this way we can able to design a wound rotor. Let us summarize that based on the values we had been given, we need to design our slip ring type of rotor. So we calculated rotor current, then based on the rotor current we have calculated cross-sectional area of the rotor winding. Before that we estimated the rotor number of turns, then rotor slots, then based on the rotor slots, conductor per slots in case of rotor, then actual rotor turns, then there was a constraint of maximum voltage between slip rings, and at last coil span of rotor side, that is important. So this way we have very simple way we have calculated our or we have designed our slip ring type of rotor. I hope you like this video. Keep watching my videos. Thank you very much.